We all know what pain feels like. There is a version of it that makes logical sense, the sharp, honest kind that arrives with a clear identity. It comes from loss, failure, betrayal, or deep grief. You know exactly what caused it, and you understand, at least in theory, that it will eventually pass. That kind of pain is heavy, but it has defined edges you can hold. Then there is the other kind. It is the pain that has no clear origin, or perhaps one that should have stopped mattering a long time ago. It is the weight that sits in your chest in the middle of the night, without an invitation. It returns just when you thought you were completely done with it, triggered by a stranger's laugh or a sudden song on the radio. This kind of pain does not follow the rules we were taught. When we encounter it, most of us do the only thing we know how to do. We fight it. We analyze it, reframe it, outpace it with frantic productivity, numb it with noise, or bargain with it using the vocabulary of self-improvement. We try desperately to solve it because our culture insists that pain is a malfunction, a problem that can be managed away with the right perspective, the right therapy, or the right amount of time. But the Buddha would not have called this frantic effort healing. He would have called it the second arrow. In ancient teachings, there is a powerful observation about human nature. When a person is struck by an arrow, they feel physical pain. That first arrow is inevitable. It is the reality of living a human life in an unpredictable world. But instead of simply tending to the wound, most people immediately reach for a second arrow and shoot themselves with it. This second arrow is the arrow of resistance, of complaint, of refusal, and of emotional fury. The first arrow is unavoidable, but the second is entirely self-inflicted. And it is this second arrow, not the first, that creates the chronic wound. This is the diagnosis the Buddha offered, not as an abstract philosophy, but as a precise psychological observation. We are not suffering because we are fundamentally broken. We are suffering because we are at war with suffering itself. And that internal war, unlike the original pain that started it, never ends on its own. The ancient word used to describe this entire structure of existence is dukkha. While it is almost always translated simply as suffering, that translation is dangerously incomplete. This concept is not just the acute pain of losing something or the chronic weight of unhappiness. It is the very texture of a life organized around resistance to the way things actually are. To truly understand this, we must look at the three distinct layers of this condition. The first layer is the blatant, obvious suffering that needs no explanation. Physical illness, deep grief, the devastation of a relationship ending, or a door closing that will never open again. This is the pain everyone recognizes. It is heavy, but it is meant to be temporary, provided we do not compound it. The second layer is the suffering of impermanence. This is subtler and far more pervasive. It is not the pain of loss itself, but the pain of holding on too tightly. It emerges when you grip something that is, by its very nature, already changing and leaving. You have likely felt this before. Something wonderful is happening, and yet, right beneath the goodness, a quiet dread begins to form. Not because anything is wrong, but precisely because everything is right, and right things eventually end. That dread is the suffering built directly into the act of clinging. The final layer is the low, persistent hum of dissatisfaction that lingers even when absolutely nothing is wrong. It is the feeling that something is missing, even in the middle of a life that looks completely successful from the outside. No achievement permanently fills it, no relationship fully resolves it, and no amount of success quiets it for long. It is a structural feature of the unexamined mind, which roams freely, chasing what it desires and pulling away from what it fears, never landing anywhere with true peace.